Halo.
You know the music. Time to dance.
3, 2, 1.
You're listening to the Ultimate Halo Podcast with Spartans and Fletch. For the latest Halo news, discussions, entertainment, and more, subscribe now to Ultimate Halo on YouTube.
What's up, kitty cats? Welcome back to another episode of the Ultimate Halo Show. This is episode 3 of the Halo Podcast for all the Halo you care about. I am Kenny the Spartan Cat, along with my boy, Jack Fletcher. How's it going, my dude?
Very good, and it's actually crazy, like we've actually made it past episode 1. This is like a first for the Ultimate Halo channel, like a series genuinely continuing. There's a
Right?
first for everything. So yeah, it's good.
I love it.
So you can connect with us on our social media channels, which is facebook.com/Ultimate Halo, our main Twitter channel, which is Ultimate_Halo. We're still working on getting at Ultimate Halo, but some guy has it, and we're gonna find him
one day.
Don't worry.
The saga continues.
You can follow my main man Kenny at the Spartan Cat,
Hey.
and your boy Fletch at FletchUH.
You can also catch the show now on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play just by searching Ultimate Halo. You can click follow on Spotify or subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, and take your favorite Halo podcast with you wherever you go.
We're famous.
We're so famous like that.
So this is actually the first episode of the show where we actually use all community discussion topics that have come from you guys. So if you ever have a suggestion or a question or a topic for the next episode you want to hear, make sure you share them with us either in the comment section or at Ultimate_Halo to be featured in the next episode in the show.
In the news.
Yeah, boy, news time. Yeah, so this past Wednesday, the Yappening update actually just released for Halo the Master Chief Collection. It was kind of interesting because on Twitter, you'd actually see 343 people like IK Grub and some of the other MCC team teasing something was coming, but I don't think anyone expected that from Halo Wars 2, Yap Yap, the Destroyer himself, was actually going to take over MCC this week. So with that, we now find ourselves here with the Yappening update, which brought us some new game types in social matchmaking for 4v4 Halo 2 Classic. Game modes like Head Pop Party, Yappening War Games, Brute Shoot, Methane Mosh Pit, Yap Yap's Ball Grab, love that one. And for 8v8, we also have Beamish Bonanza, which is a big team SWAT vehicle fiesta with active camo.
Yeah.
And it is literally as chaotic as it sounds. We do have a news video on the channel, youtube.com/Ultimate Halo, that breaks down all of that for you if you want to check it out. For playing the Yappening update as well, you'll actually have the chance to get 2 new nameplates. There is the self-titled Yap Yap the Destroyer nameplate, which you can get for completing 7 matches of the Yappening, as well as the other one called Shut Your Yap, which you can get for headshotting 250 grunts on heroic or higher in campaign or Spartan Ops. The update also does have a few other quality of life improvements in the form of some new loading screens for campaign and matchmaking. And under the hood, we also do have a higher packet refresh rate for Halo 2, Halo 2 Anniversary, Halo 3, and Halo 4. And basically all that means for you is that the speed at which data is being set between your console and the network is overall just getting a lot faster and more consistent with the higher frame rate at 60 FPS as well. It's not going to be perfect, but it is going to be a lot better for everybody. So that's what's new in the Yappening. We do also have some news from Halo Insider as well.
Yeah, so there will be flighting available this month for Halo Reach for the expansion of the MCC. This was confirmed by Sketch, the community manager for 343 Industries, on his Twitter, which is good news. He said if all goes to plan, so hopefully all will go to plan and we'll get our hands on it this month. It will start off on a small scale and it will scale up for more users over time. The welcome emails are getting sent out, but there's a little bit of confusion around that. It's not an invitation, it's not a confirmation, but make sure you sign up at haloinsider.com to get your hands on the PC version and Halo Reach and pretty much anything else going forward. I mean, the Halo Insider is a broad thing. It's going to be covering all sorts of spectrums of the Halo future. So also Halo Future, new video live if you want to see my predictions for the next 5 years of Halo.
Hey.
Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Ultimate Halo.
All right, so let's get into our first topic from Joshua Rolfie. This is a pretty long one.
Sit down. Let's do this.
Right, sit down, buckle up, kids. He said, over the past few weeks, I've been replaying Halo CE and MCC, trying out the new skulls added to the game in the last update. Playing Halo CE with infinite ammo and some crazy physics has left me thinking, wouldn't it be great to have custom game settings for future Halo campaigns, and hell, add them into the older Halos in MCC if possible? Can you imagine all the crazy stuff you could do if you were able to modify your health, speed, jump height, damage, weapon loadouts, etc.? I think it would add a lot of replayability to the campaigns and could even be used to make an even more challenging difficulty to play through if you modify the right settings for a new playthrough. Of course, I would have these settings not affect achievements and could only be unlocked when you beat the game on regular difficulty, but I think it would be a great addition. What are your thoughts on this? Love your channel and keep up the great work.
Oh, thanks, Josh. Yeah.
Thank you, Joshua. That was kind of a loaded one.
That was a loaded one. That's a big one. Well, I mean, I'll jump into that first and foremost. I'll give you a break from talking after that big question. So, yes is the short version of that answer. But I mean, really, I think anything that adds more customization, more player freedom to any kind of Halo experience is always going to be a good thing. You know, I talk about this in plenty of my other previous videos. The more you can give the player, the better. So yeah, absolutely. And I think that the Yappening is actually a good start to that, because they added the skulls to the Halo 2 multiplayer, which actually enables you to do all of these crazy things within that multiplayer experience. And it's just nuts. I mean, the Needlers capture the flag. No, King of the Hill, where you just basically jump heights are crazy, physics are accelerated. It's absolute carnage. So stuff like that, just to give it a little break off from the serious sort of experience from Halo, is nothing but good. Kenny, thoughts?
I think that'd be great. I think it's what we need. I mean, if you look at Halo always has had these two interesting ways to play the game. You have boots on the ground, guns locked and loaded, like let's go blow up some shit. And then you have custom games, and anything goes in custom games. Some of the best moments in Halo, some of the most iconic, hey, we did it, moments in Halo are from custom games. And I think the next evolution of that could also be adding some custom game-like settings into campaign. And that's something that we've never really seen before, but I think we could also really benefit from. Look at what adding theater to campaign did. There was nothing but good that came out of that. There's so many more cinematic things you can do, so much more artistically that we can do with the game. And so I think the next step would be naturally to add in some of those other modifiers, things like gravity, bottomless clip, kind of along the lines of what skulls do as well too. Anything that you can see in custom games, I think should be available in campaign, and I think Infinite would be a great place to start with that. Yeah,
I concur. So I definitely do think it will be a focus in Halo Infinite, especially with the engine being such a big factor that they're talking about with this new release. I think they're hoping to add more flexibility with really building it from the ground up. And I know they said they did that with Halo 5, but it seems to be, I mean, now that even the fact that it's got its own name is a huge thing in itself. So
yeah, right. And we even have, the slip space engine as well too. So literally anything, I mean, ideally should go with that new slip space engine. And the whole thinking behind that is by having the new engine, it allows creative freedom for anyone that's working on the game, adding new things, adding new armor sets, whatever it may be. That new engine, at least under the hood, is supposed to make that process a lot easier. As Joshua was saying as well too, of course, achievements and things like that should be disabled if we do decide to modify the game in this way, but it would be great to see this for sure.
Follow us on Twitter at @ultimate_Halo.
So let's move on to the next question. It's by Kevin Cool X, our good friend Kevin. Cool. So he said, I heard that sprint in Halo is a hot topic, even though it's been in the game since 2010. Sprint in Halo Infinite, he asks. Kenny, what are your thoughts?
Oh man. All right, kids. First and foremost, in the comments, throw back to Halo 3 ODST. Let's keep it clean, because this one is a spicy topic no matter which end of things you're on. So let's all hold hands for a second. Sprint in Halo Infinite. Yes. I would not mind if sprint is in Halo Infinite.
And what should you do if you don't like sprint?
Just don't sprint. You just don't sprint. Just don't, period. No, but in Halo Infinite, I think that given the mechanics of what we have with Halo 5 and even Halo 4, There are ways, I think, to implement sprints, and with how most modern shooters are moving towards faster gameplay, lower time to kills, I think sprint does make sense, especially with the fact that we all want to see, well, I think a lot of us want to see bigger maps in Halo, and there are appropriate ways mechanically to add sprint to the game without totally breaking the sandbox. So, in Halo Infinite, my verdict, the official Spartacat verdict, is yes. Don't at me, or do. At me if you want. Fletchy. Who else can we piss off?
Try to save you out of the pit you've just dug yourself. Yeah, no, I am. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, for me personally, and it's strange because when I look back to Halo as a kid, I remember like I was only the main guy in sort of my friendship group that played Halo, and they all said it wasn't realistic. And that was a big thing in the UK. I don't know if it was just my sort of school that I went to. Everyone said Halo wasn't realistic, so that automatically...
Y'all are just a bunch of nerds.
Yeah, it just deemed it as it was bad because everyone liked Modern Warfare, which is equally unrealistic, if you ask me. But one of the things they used to say to me all the time was, what's the point? I can't even sprint in the game. And I genuinely think for some people, much like playable elites is or having a certain developer on board, is a selling point. So I think for some people, if it doesn't have sprint, it's not a selling point. Yes, there may be a really sort of core part of the community that says, I do not want sprint. I think it's detrimental to the gameplay. That's fair enough, and they're allowed to criticise that all they like. But at the end of the day, if you want this franchise to survive, then does it have to appeal to that general audience? So, I mean, you could fire back and say, yes, well, you need that core audience to sustain the community in the game in the long run. You're right. But also me personally, I mean, I'm impartial if they decided to go either way, but I find it weird going back to Halo 3 and not being able to sprint. I was literally playing on Valhalla Big Team Battle, and because the map was so big, and in my head I just think Ragnarok and Halo 4 now, let's just sprint to the other side of the map.
Right.
And now
Literally.
It's like, I go back and it's so jarring, and it's a modern first-person shooter mechanic, and I don't think we'll ever see any way of going back. And I didn't mind how Halo 5 implemented it. If we got rid of things like thruster pack and ground pound and just kept it like everything else pretty regular and sprint, I think I'd be fine. So,
ooh, man.
I
can already feel the heat in the room rising right now. The wrath of the Halo community is slowly descending upon Ultimate Halo right now. But I think, as you were saying, like most modern shooters have some sort of sprinting mechanic so heavily embedded. I think Reach was a good way to transition the Halo franchise into that with having a sprint armor ability. But now I think it just needs to be there. And I think, again, with Halo Infinite, I don't think that we need to blow up 343 if sprint is still there. Just because we see a classic, Chief armor style coming back doesn't mean that we're also going to have classic mobility. And the way that sprint is implemented or not could have a huge effect on the community. So I think it should be there.
Subscribe now to Ultimate Halo on YouTube.
Whew, yeah. Oh, man. I feel like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I feel uncomfortable with that.
it's
But
hot in here all of a sudden. Almost makes you feel dirty.
I know. Let's get into some Q&A now. From you, the Halo fam. Again, if you have questions for next week's show, please post them in the comments or tweet us at ultimate_Halo. This one's from B-Train. Hey, buddy. He said, do you think the new Halo game should have rotating multiplayer playlists at launch, or do you think 343 should just have everything active at launch and then scale things back if need be? This one's gonna actually trigger, I think, a lot of Halo 5 memories.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think that I don't think there should be so many to the point where the population suffers, but I also know the importance of not having too few, as with Halo 5. So I think that they should strategically choose what playlists are there. Of course, have the core ones like Slayer, SWAT, Big Team, all those, and then have a couple, fun ones based on whatever new stuff Halo Infinite. So I'd probably say, I don't know, maybe 4 to 5 additional ones aside from the core playlists. Fletchy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think initially what they'll do with Halo Infinite is they'll start off with a core set, maybe in the first month or two, and then after a while they'll probably just move on to adding rotational ones every other weekend or every weekend, or however it tends to work. And you got to remember as well, I can imagine that 343 have so much data behind Halo 5 in terms of the success of certain game types, when was more optimal, when wasn't. So yeah, I think it's going to be a big thing going forward, and I think with it being a live service as such as a game, I think that's going to be a focus in terms of player retention, engagement.
Right.
So yeah, without a doubt, I think it's something that will happen. I think they'll keep it core at first and then build upon it, and maybe scale it back, because obviously you don't want your population to be too sort of dispersed over a multi. That's probably Master Chief Collection. You know, you've got 4 games. And there's so many things to play. Like, you've obviously got a really dispersed player set, and that's one of the reasons why it's hard to find a game sometimes at certain times, especially for me in the UK. If I wake up in the morning on a weekday and want to play some MCC, it's going to take me a while to find a game. So
it really is.
It's not just the withering population, even though that is a factor as well. So.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing too, as you said, is like these games are basically almost service related software now. So pretty much what that means is that almost anything is subject to change. So if based on the data that they have, if the current list of playlists is not working out, they can always adjust that and scale things back if needed. So we'll see how it goes, but let's move on to our next question.
So we've got J-Dog, and he asked if you guys would love it if we had large-scale battles in Halo Infinite, like, well, you know those large-scale battles that took place on the background of Reach. What would it be if we could have those in Halo Infinite, but actually participate in them? Struggled reading that one. I don't know if that's just me or the actual tweet itself. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I think Reach actually did have some big battles in the first place, but if you actually look at some beta footage, I think it was like at a GDC conference for Halo 3 when Bungie showed off some behind the scenes stuff for the game. They did show like large scale battles. It was actually something they were going to try. I think for technical limitations they didn't do it, and I think maybe with there's been on a newer generation now, and potentially Xbox Scarlet, the latest generation around the corner as well as coming to PC, I don't see why it's not a possibility. I wouldn't object to it. I think that obviously it needs to be true to Halo's formula and sandbox, but Halo's always been good at sort of dealing with those anyway. So yeah, no real issues on that one for me.
If we had sprint.
Now we're moving on.
Yeah, just don't sprint. Yeah, no, I think it'd be cool. I don't know if there's necessarily a place for it in Halo Infinite. It would almost make me think at that point, why not just throw in Battle Royale?
Thanks, J-Dog. Right, next question.
Next question from Fire Goku. Last week, he actually left this comment on YouTube and threw 10 whole questions at us.
Damn.
So we'll answer just a few of these with our fun little lightning round. Fletchy, are you ready?
My body is ready.
Perfect. First question, which version of Halo Reach multiplayer experience should be the normal in MCC, Bungie's normal version, or 343i's title update version?
I would say it should be the beta because that was infinitely better, but that's not going to happen, so whatever. I'm 343, don't care.
I'd say Bungie's version. I think that the original Reach formula worked out pretty well. I was a huge fan of that, so I think that's my answer. Next one, should armor effects make a return for Halo Infinite? Armor effects being what we had in Reach, how you had like that Pestilence one, for example, where you have a bunch of gross stink bugs or lightning kind of hovering around your armor. What do you think?
Si, senor.
Si. Yeah, I would love to see armor effects as well too. I think that's just one more way to get back to that beautifully perfect, beautifully optimized Reach style of customization. And last question from Fire Goku, what is your favorite non-human weapon in Halo 5?
Non-human weapon in Halo 5?
I would say light rifle.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I love the light rifle.
For me, I would say the Needler, actually. I think the Needler is a great weapon in Halo 5, and I think it's just one of the most unique FPS weapons in general anyway. I've always said like one of my favourite Covenant weapons is the Needler. I mean, I know in some titles it's absolute garbage, like Halo 1 and 2. Is it more 2? I can't remember. I think it was like Halo 2 and 3 actually. It was really trash. True, okay. So yeah, Halo 2, trash, but it's still a unique weapon, so purely on that premise, I'd say that's it in Halo 5.
Man, I'm gonna get so much hate for saying light rifle too and sprint in Halo Infinite. Man, this episode's not gonna go that well.
We're just gonna shut down the channel now, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you never. Thanks. Yeah.
Basically, can I get a hoya? Dude, that was...
Yeah, sorry, that wasn't very nice. Okay. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Well, you know what that sound means, I guess. That's the end of the Ultimate Halo show for this week. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. You can, of course, find us now on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play just by searching Ultimate Halo. You can follow myself at the Spartacat and my boy Fletch at
Fletch UH.
Oh man, that's so cute. So cute.
Thanks.
And of course, once again, you can leave suggestions for next week's show in the comments here or on Twitter at ultimate_Halo. And with that, thank you so much for tuning in this week. We'll be back next Sunday with more of the show.
Tally ho, good friend.
Oh, Okay, bye.
Bye.
Kidding.
Subscribe now to Ultimate Halo for more unfriggin' believable Halo content.